Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. And boy, am I happy to babble about this one. Got it a little bit early, love it when that happens. And I am talking about the new, I don't know what you want to call them, superstar band called Cathedral and their album Deep Water. And this has like quite a unique mix of people in it. In case you guys don't know who Cathedral is. And I guess I have to say up front, please excuse my cold. I can barely talk. My nose is so stuffed up, it's driving me insane, but I had to get this out. So if I sound a little stranger than normal, that's why. And if you're doing the drinking game this time, keep track of how many times I say cool, because I tend to say that word a lot. So take a shot every time, and we'll see how you feel by the end of this. And getting back to this, Neal Morse, it's his new project. He's got all kinds of stuff going on, I guess, since Mike Portnoy is no longer quite as free as he used to be. He's back doing his full-time gig with Dream Theater. Neal's has not wasted any time finding other people to jam with, because that's what you kind of do when you're a musician and you got stuff you just got to do, because I know what it's like. You just got to get that out of you. So sometimes you just got to find different people to jam with, and that's what he's done here. And he's got, along with him, Keaggy. I'm not really sure how you say it. I've heard it said by several different people several different ways, so I'm sure I'll be corrected in the comments. Either way, you got him on guitar and lead vocals and lots of harmony vocals. And then we have Chester Thompson, who's probably most well known for playing with Genesis, the live stuff, when you had Phil out front singing and you need somebody to play drums. That's who Chester is there. And then we got Byron House. So I had to admit, I was not really familiar with it all. I guess his biggest claim to fame for the rock guys would be he was in the Band of Joy with Robert Plant's Band of Joy for a couple years. But I just kind of did a little bit of looking up on him, see who he was, because I really wasn't familiar with him. Mainly country stuff, so nothing I'm really familiar with. But anyway, that's who's in this band. And according to what I've read up on this, because I saw this was coming out a while back, it's mainly Neal's engineer, recorded all these jam sessions these guys did together. And he's the one that kind of helped piece the stuff together. And I'm kind of unclear as to whether they kept that stuff or they went back in and re-recorded everything after they arranged it and put it together. But either way, that's kind of how the project was, came together. And it's, I guess a couple of these guys have played together before. And a couple other things. Actually, Phil's played on Neal's, one of his albums, one of his Christian albums there. One, I think it was. I actually don't remember. I probably should have looked that up. And if I'm not mistaken, Chester played on one of those too, or was it Brian played on one of those? Now I can't remember. But anyway, this is where I asked for you guys. This is what it's all about. I don't have all the facts on some of the stuff. It's like try to keep it that way. It's kind of like a conversation between people, because some people question like what I'm doing on here. I just like to keep it like a conversation between like friends, and then we're just talking about music. That's kind of what it is. And I got this new thing, and I'm just trying to explain to my friend what it is and what they know about it, and we bounce things back and forth off of each other, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. But the basic idea, or the basic setup of the song structure of this is the first 4 songs are just individual songs, and then tracks 5 through 13 are all one long song called the Deep Water Suite, and it's just got different sections of that. Now, as to be expected, Neal Morse has a habit of, I don't want to say habit, but he's got a style. And no matter what he does, he's going to sound like Neal Morse. It just, he's got a way he phrases things, and just the way he develops melodies. Even though he's doing like the acoustic thing with that he's done here recently with Nick Virgilio, if I can say it, and that other person from Haken, whose name I cannot remember, but anyway, that's pretty cool stuff. But even though that's like all acoustic, or mainly acoustic, still has that styling of stuff he's done, especially with like Spock's Beard or acoustic stuff he did with them, his solo stuff. They were done acoustic stuff like that. It has that sound, it just sounds like Neal Morse. very progressive. There's a lot of progressive stuff going on in here. It has not lost any of that. But these other guys definitely have some input in their styles. You can hear the ideas of new things that I've not heard in any other Neal Morse projects. Got some jazzy fusion stuff going on that I really have not ever picked up before, from Neal. Now it's funny because Phil Keaggy is, I think he's kind of from around the area I'm from, but I've never really gotten into that style of music. I've heard some of the stuff he's played, but it's just not my taste. So when I heard a few things on here, I'm like, I can see that flavoring in there, but it wasn't like unappealing to me mixed with what was going on in these songs. So it starts in with The Heart of Life, which is 13 and a half minutes long. That one's got a lot of Neal on it. I'll say that. That one has a lot of Neal, but there's a few moments here and there where it sounds like something a little bit new and unique, a little jazzy, just a newer mix that I wasn't quite, I wasn't really expecting, although very progressive. It's more like a fresher sounding Neal Morse, like he's got a little bit of an inspiration from something. So I'm assuming that's got to be from Phil. I don't know how much Brian and Chester, wrote, although I'll give Brian kudos here. The one thing I really did notice throughout this whole album is his bass playing is great. He is like a fabulous player. I'm so used to hearing the other guys that have played with, on the like the transatlantic stuff and all the Neal Morse band projects. He's had the same bass player on there, and man, I can't remember. I should know all this stuff up. There's so much music out there. So many people. I do tend to forget people's names sometimes. And a case of the olds. I'm going to steal it from Pete Pardo. A case of the olds. I'm having it right now, and so used to hearing him play that. Hearing Neal with a different bass player was like a smack in the face almost, because he's doing a lot of different stuff that I've not heard in Neal's music. In fact, I would guess that some of the bass lines and some of the riffing was actually written by Brian, because several of the songs, and especially in the suite, the Deep Water Suite there, that's the main part of the song, and then the rest of the song builds around the bass lines. So that being said, I think they all did contribute a lot. Now, I'm bouncing all over the place, but that's what I do. The second song on here is where I really heard some jazzy influence. It's called Time to Fly. That one sounded like it had a lot of inspiration and stuff that was not Neal. Like, I didn't hear a whole lot of Neal in that one, which was strange to hear him singing that, because it was a completely different feel. And that was a really good song, and it was very memorable. A lot of harmonies, a lot of vocals. In fact, I think Neal called this I know he did. I saw it. He said he called it Prague meets yacht rock meets the Beatles. So if I put that in the title, you know why I put that in there, because he actually said that himself, and that's very noticeable in that song. And then, of course, track number 3 is called I Won't Make It, and it's a shorter song. It's only 3 minutes 55 seconds long. It's very acoustic. Definitely sounds like something you would. That was definitely something that sounds like he was something you'd expect on a Neal Morse album. He definitely has gotten back to the more spiritual lyrics, and I've heard people like talking about this coming up, and almost like saying, well, if you can get past the lyrics and this, I'm like, why? That kind of bothers me too. It's like either you love an artist or you don't. It's like almost making up excuses. So if you like the band Ghost, making up for their, well, if you can get past the lyrics, it's like you don't hear that happening. Or other bands are singing about other stuff. It's like, this is the artist. It's like, this is what he sings about. This is what inspires him. And it's part of the music. You shouldn't be making up excuses if you can get past that. That's just my personal little rant on that. But it definitely makes it well known what his beliefs are and what he wants to sing about, and that's what inspires him to make music. So if you know, I don't know. I don't think you should make up excuses for getting past that to enjoy the music, because that's part of his music. But anyway, very evident in I Won't Make It. Song Walking, actually Phil's has very strong faith too. I don't know about the other two guys, but that's how I kind of know Phil, because he used to play a lot of the colleges, the Christian colleges around this area, and I used to see his name pop up all the time. In fact, one of the guys I'm in a band with, who ran sound for him for a little bit, and made a comment on how great of a singer he was, and he's mainly known for being a guitar player, and that kind of leads me into track number 4, Walking in Daylight, where Phil takes over lead vocals on it. And I was very impressed with his vocals, because, like I said, I'm not really familiar with him that much. I'm more known his instrumental stuff and just his guitar playing. And to hear him sing, I was like, oh, he was right. Because I remember him saying that before, that he was impressed by how good of a singer he was. And I heard it very evidently on Walking in Daylight, which obviously was a very Phil-inspired song as well. Although that one had a very good mixture of the different styles in that one. And then we get into the Deepwater Suite, which is like 34, 38 minutes long, something like that. I don't remember exactly now, but very long. If you got the vinyl, you're going to have to flip it over in the middle of it. I got it on CD, so I didn't have to do that. I got to listen to it straight through. And it's exactly what you would want from any prog type. And I want to call it's prog rock, but this actually is more like, it doesn't get too, it's not metal at all, you know. Sometimes the stuff that he's done gets a little rockin' and heavier parts, never too much, but it gets a little rockin'. It doesn't really get extremely on the heavy side at all in this, although there's definitely upbeat parts and fast-moving parts. I'm not going to break down every little tiny one, because I'm already running pretty long here on this review, but it definitely takes you on a journey. I sat back and just closed my eyes and listened to this whole thing through, and it was exactly what I would want out of Neal Morse. And Phil, in this point, the guitar playing on this is insanely good. I was very impressed with Phil. It makes me wonder why I've never checked out any of his stuff previous to this. I might. Like I said, I have heard some of his stuff here and there, here and there, and it never really pulled me in. But I might give it another listen. It's been a while since I've actually heard him, and quite a few years actually since I've heard any Phil Keaggy. So I've said it both ways now. I just realized, so I really don't know how his name is pronounced properly. I guess if I ever get the chance to meet him, I'll ask, but I doubt that'll ever happen. But anyway, it was a really good album. I was really happy with this. The only thing I'm going to say negative about this at all is they faded out one of the songs. It was Time to Fly. Phil was kicking into a solo, and he was tearing it up, and they faded it out. I cannot understand why bands do that. Don't fade out songs. Finish the job. Create an ending to it, because you're not going to play the song live and fade it out. So whatever you're going to do there, do that on the album. Don't fade out songs. It's such a waste of playing. It's such a waste of music, just fading a song out. I don't understand it. I've always hated it since I was a kid. I hated it when the DJs would talk over the songs when the music was playing, not singing, because it's still the song. You're still talking over the art, and when you fade out, you're just wasting. I don't know. That's just my little thing. I hate it. But anyway, that's my only gripe about this. Otherwise, it was awesome. It was such a breath of fresh air hearing Neal do something. It's different. It is. It's still Neal, but it's different. And these other guys tear it up. I didn't say much about Chester's playing on this. Completely different style of playing, obviously, than Mike. He doesn't hit. It doesn't sound like he's a hard hitter at all. In fact, there's a lot of times he's just laying it back, catching the groove, and Brian, picked that up, and they groove together so well. I've always heard Chester playing other people's stuff. This is where he gets a chance to play and do his own thing here, and he was very impressive with the parts he came up with and his style of playing. Those guys locked in the pocket so many times on here, and I could rant and rave. I could keep going on. This is like probably the longest reviews I've ever done, and I could probably go on longer, but I think I've said enough at this point. If anybody else has anything they want to add in, as always, feel free. Whatever you want to say. If you want to rant like I did, feel free. That's what it's all about. There's no right or wrong. It's just our own opinions. That's just my opinion on everything that I've said here. And like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because I definitely want to hear more of these guys doing some stuff. This was really cool. I really, really enjoyed this. So until next time, we'll see ya.